bit of this tape off of here, out of the way. I don't know why it keeps doing that, and that's concerning. What is called the Supernote pen. Never wears out. 0.7 millimeter ultrafine nib. Never needs to be charged. Okay. 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity. Very interesting. The most important thing to note about the pen, nobody would be familiar with this because it's such an obscure fact about myself, but in terms of mechanical pencils, growing up and in school, I used to really rely on mechanical pencils. Now I've moved over to pens primarily. But, you know, in school you need to be erasing things, whatever. Mechanical pencils. I would use them a lot. I wasn't a big fan of like the super, I think there's like 0.5 millimeter. 0.7 was, for me at least, I think there's 0.9. 0.9 was too weird and thick. 0.5 was, I think, too skinny. I think I maybe even used a 0.5 like maybe once. But 0.7 was like the bread and butter mechanical pencil that I was using a lot of the time. So there we have everything in order. We'll go smallest to biggest. How about that? Is that acceptable to everybody? So what I wanted to say about the pen, and this is, again, my first time seeing this, first time touching it, it's a clicky pen, first of all, which in the past, that hasn't existed. So that's actually really cool. One of the reasons I really enjoy pens is because they're just like a little fidget toy, honestly. And I know that some people get really irritated by pen clicking, but I just positively love it. Cool, so now we have our folio, so let's get the plastic open on this a little bit. We just gotta open up our scissors so we can use them as a knife. Knife scissors is my favorite way to use scissors, personally. I don't know about you guys. This is the folio, so let's see it open. Looks like it opens just like the pen. Again, I didn't really point this out, but there's magnets on these boxes, so like very... I will say, I will preface this by saying that after I ordered it, I thought to myself, what color did I order? And I realized that I had ordered the white one, and I was not like as excited. I think the only other color that they have currently is like a blue. Again, not that I hate it. It's a lovely shade of white, but I'm just the type of person who was gonna throw this in a bag and not care too much. But a lot of people talk about how it shows that you love it and that you've used it. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. That's a fair point with everything. So yeah, we've got a little pen loop on the side. As I said, vegan leather. It feels very nice. I don't know what's the interior. Inside, 50% resin, 45% nylon, 5% color paste additives. Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of the inside feel. Like the outside is just like basically fake leather, which is fine. But the inside, I don't hate it, but it's like, I don't know, it's just a little bit like, I'm not a big fan of like very short fur, if that's the best way I can describe it. And this feels like that. Again, this is the first Supernote that I've owned, but I know from my research that previously it was more of a mechanical solution rather than a magnetic solution, as there was like a little groove that you would slide the folio into on the back of the device. So yeah, let's put this and the pen off to the side, and let's get to the big kahuna, which is the actual Supernote, which I'm very excited to unbox. As you can see, again, maybe the lighting's not great in here because of our lighting difficulties. This is the crystal version, and that's why it took longer to ship, is they were still manufacturing these crystal versions. If I had ordered the plain like white version, it would have showed up. It would have shipped probably a month ago at this point, is when I think I ordered this. But again, you know, this is something that I'm hoping to use for a while, and I want it to be gadgety, and I want it to be cool, and all of those good things that everybody looks for from their devices. So I went ahead and bought the crystal version because it's cooler. Let's all be honest. It's cooler, even though it costs a little bit more. The crystal background's probably really cool and probably really worth it. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and open up this bad boy. A warm reminder. There's a picture of a cat on here. The transparent shell is prone to scratches that can impact its aesthetics. Therefore, be sure to handle it with caution in your everyday use, and it's suggested to keep within a folio for enough protection. So that's a very good point, is if you're worried about the back of it getting dinged up, it's probably why you buy a folio. Look at that. That is so thin and cool. Again, I've been watching a ton of videos, and this is a thing that I realize a lot when I purchase something after, and some of you might argue that, Colin, why are you watching videos on something that you've already bought? Like, isn't that gonna ruin some of the enjoyment for you? And I argue that no, it actually doesn't at all. If anything, it hypes me up more and it gets me more excited to get my actual hands on it. So let's go ahead and pull this out. I mean, it's just a really cool looking product. That's the best way I can say. It just looks really cool. And again, I've been watching the videos and so haven't ever set hands on one or seen one in real life. So this is my first actual viewing of it. And the videos don't do it justice. So I apologize for all of you that have been sitting through this video for so long, because the videos don't do frickin' anything, if I'm being perfectly honest. This is just like so neat. It feels a lot more sturdy than I was expecting. I was expecting to feel maybe a little lighter, maybe a little more flimsy for how thin it is. But this thing is like rock. It feels, the best way I can describe it is like a picture frame. Like a picture frame that obviously doesn't have any stand on it, but it feels like the weight and kind of size of a picture frame. And I know there's e-ink photo frames out there, e-ink displays that people use as a companion to like their laptop or their computer. But that's the best way I describe it in terms of both weight and size, is it's kind of like a photo frame. Talk a little bit for a second about Supernote. So I already talked about how they have the kind of cool customizability of the pen, that you can kind of go out and make your own pen that will be functional with the Supernote, which is really cool. And that's kind of the best way I can describe that. Is kind of a customer first mentality of like, we know that people who love writing typically have favorite pens or favorite writing utensils. And so why would we put everybody in a corner and force them to use the same exact body of pen for our device? And that's a really cool thought to have, and a really cool thought not only to have, but to follow through on. And so kind of coming back to that customer first mentality, everything that you're seeing through this crystal backplate right now is can really be bought on their website. Obviously you can't like buy everything and like build your own, but it's pretty dang close. And that's kind of why they provide this screwdriver. Your battery gets old or it starts, not working as well, you can replace the battery. You can extend storage with an SD card. And again, I haven't done a whole lot of research on this in my videos. I think it was mentioned in maybe 2 of them. But to my knowledge, RADA, I would just refer to them as Supernote, because that's mainly what, I don't think they have any other products other than Supernote. To my knowledge, they actually provide online, or you can find it, the exact specifications of the back plate. And what that means is that you ostensibly can, if you have a 3D printer or you have some sort of manufacturing setup, you could make your own back plate, meaning there's kind of infinite customizability. It's really nice to see that a company is invested in like the experience of the end user, and isn't just like, hey, you bought our product, thanks. They're like, hey, you bought our product, we want you to keep using the product for as long as is reasonably possible, or as long as is possible. We want you to use it in the way that you want. We want you to be, have it look the way you want. We want you to be able to customize things about it. We want you to interact with it in your own special way, have your own relationship with the product, basically. And that's really, really cool. And I think, and I don't know, maybe people won't agree with me on this, very unique, especially nowadays. It's really cool to see a company that says, hey, you bought our product, we want you to, that's the best way I can describe it, is have a relationship with it. But so this is the notebook that I currently use. It is by a company called Huhu Hero, Huhuhero, Huhu Hero on Amazon. I like the size of this. It slides perfectly into a specific part of my sling bag, which I'm back using because I'm doing my summer job where I don't need to carry around nearly as much stuff with me to be prepared. And so this is what I've been journaling in, and it's got obviously, a strap to keep it closed. It's got a little bookmark that comes with it, and I just carry around a bunch of pens with me and just use one of those to write in here when I want. So let's do a comparison between the size of the two of them. So that is like nearly spot on in terms of height. Obviously, I would say this is probably, I don't know, a millimeter. I'm not good at measurements. But yeah, it's not a whole lot taller. It's about that much taller. Let's flip it around that way so that's easier to see maybe. So then the important thing to really compare though, size of them aside, is the actual writing space. So let's flip to an empty page so you guys don't see my inner thoughts. So that's roughly the amount of writing size that's available in a standard whatever size notebook this is. I don't know. Again, this is a loose comparison specifically for my purposes. If you're interested in a lot more details specifically about the writing area on the Supernote and the size of it, you can find them online. I'm not going to, it's a Google search. Knock yourself out. But again, little less writing space. And one of the things that people online were talking about when I was watching these videos, doing my own research, is that they were like, oh, the writing space is not significant. Like it's kind of small. Whereas in my head, I'm going, well, that looks almost exactly to what I'm used to writing in. And that's exactly the size that I want it to be. So again, for my purposes, your purposes may differ. This is a pretty one-to-one. Again, that ratio is not exact, but in terms of what I feel, it is a one-to-one of what I was already using to journal. What I'm going to do now is, with the Supernote still off, I've got my pen clicked out. We're going to see how it feels to write on this. Does it feel similar to writing on a piece of paper? I don't know. If you go very lightly, it can feel like a piece of paper. Same. Also, if you go with kind of the side of the pen. But if you go kind of straight up and down, it feels, best way I can describe it, it feels sticky. It doesn't really feel, it just feels kind of sticky a little bit. Not a bad thing. Again, I'm not, unhappy with it by any means. But it's definitely different than a pen on paper. And to be fair, that's also what my experience is with specifically a Pilot G2 is what I use most of the time, and that I think is a gel pen, right? So that experience is probably a little different from like a normal ballpoint pen. So enough beating around the bush. Again, I didn't go over this, but it charges USB-C, as most things do nowadays. We can open up our Supernote Quick Start Guide, and it says, activate your Supernote, power on. Long press the power button to power on your Supernote device. Holding it down. Let's do a little writing, shall we? So I'm going to put my hand on it, which hasn't done anything, and we're going to say, that's really cool. I mean, it does. I will say it does slow me down a little bit. Obviously, with time and practice, it'll get easier and easier. And I assume as I probably wear down the whatever surface is on here over time, it will probably feel more and more like what I'm used to. Because again, this is smooth. But yeah, that felt like remarkably. So I think maybe if I just use it more at an angle, maybe. I mean, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked with how. That's just really fun. So yeah, I'm going to leave this here for right now. I will be back before, and this is a promise I'm going to keep, is I will be back before this vlog goes out to tell you how it's been going, what I've been enjoying about it, what maybe I would like better about it. I don't know. But I'm excited to get into this and use it some more on my own, away from the camera. As you know, I do like to do the unboxing and show it off, but I do like to just kind of huddle up with my new toy and play with it. So thanks for sticking with me for so long. I know I got sidetracked multiple times during the unboxing of this, but hopefully it was worth it and you learned something about me or about the Supernote or the world as a whole. So I'll be back to discuss this more. It's been a couple days since I unboxed the Supernote and have been messing around with it. And there are a couple things that I really like about it and a couple things that I've kind of noticed. So first of all, the writing on it is pretty good. It's very comfortable. It doesn't feel strange anymore. I think I just worked kind of in the surface, and so now it writes very smoothly. Again, I'm still kind of getting used to using it, so I haven't really found exactly what I want to use it for yet. We'll call it a killer app. For VR, that's what people were always searching for, and I think still are a little bit, is a killer app that makes it worth it. And that's kind of what I'm still looking for this, is like a killer usage that is unique and perfect for this format and layout and the abilities of it. And I haven't found it yet. I will let you know when I do. But that's basically it for right now. Maybe I'll do an update in a couple months, see how things are going with it, if I'm still using it, if I have completely stopped using it, which I find unlikely because it's just such a cool piece of technology. So yeah, that's going to do it for this vlog. Thanks for coming along and checking out the Supernote with me. I am excited to see what I come up with on how to use this. And if you have any questions about Supernote, you can Google it or feel free to ask in the comments and I will answer as best as I can. So thanks for hanging out. I will catch all of you next week. But if I don't, have a good one. Peace.